All right, welcome in everybody. Hope everybody's having a good day. It's been a really pretty day around here, and I hope everybody got to get out at some point and enjoy the sunshine because rain's going to be coming in pretty soon. So, just have some questions that come by me um, through studies that I do. And I always like to get on here and share. And I try to do it every week, and I hadn't. I've been busy, Simon. It's just no excuse. They just think there's just not an excuse. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with me for a few minutes, and we'll let some people start coming on here on the page as they do. Um, if you're new by the page, you're just stopping by to join in live here on Facebook or YouTube. Uh, these are usually just it's usually Bible based kind of questions and stuff and things that I think about and questions that I get or conversations that I run across on different sites and those kind of things. And I think they're important. And I've always said on here, I'm the kind of learner that I learn well by talking about it and kind of laying it out there for, you know, other people's ideas. I'm always curious. Just naturally always kind of been that way to see how the Lord works, and these topics are it's really hard hitting questions that trouble a lot of young believers are not in age, physical age, but spiritual young believers. And you know, just this question, just being honest and open, is what I like to do. And I'll share because if I'm asking other people to share, I have to share too. And these are questions that I ask. Some I've seemed to have I found along the way in my biblical studies over the years. And sometimes you still think about stuff, because we're just here on this third planet from the sun. And, you know, it's a big, big place out there. And some people have this idea of, how a loving God, if these are people that are looking, for religion and looking for that kind of stuff to figure out where they may fit in and where religion works for them. And it's always been a saying of mine for a long time. I don't think religion has ever worked. It's really done much of no good, but failed a lot of people and caused a lot of wars and caused a lot of famines. And so I always like to come on and go through these questions and, have a lot of young people graduating this week and they're practicing and, getting ready to move on with their lives. And I hope that, somewhere along the way that I've impacted someone's life to consider, what else is out there, besides sports, and what else is out there besides just existing, on this planet. And okay, so that's kind of what we do here. And like I said, I try to come on every week and we just put things out there. It's about life lessons and things that are going on. And sometimes I'll just talk some news stuff. And usually the biggest news stuff around the areas of the world or the country right now is about Trump and the trial. And I just can't really get into it. And if I can't really get into something, I don't feel like I'm going to give it my all. And if I'm not going to give it my all, then I just assume not do it at all, if that makes sense. Because it's not that I don't care, because I do care much about our country, but there's just so much silliness involved in politics and people picking sides. And I'm just not going to fall into a group, the group that I choose to identify, since we're all, supposed to choose now, which is, again, naive and foolish. I choose to follow an old book that's been written a long time ago. So that's why some of the new stuff, and I get on here and try to share some things. I don't. I've had people ask me about that. Well, if you're going to do new stuff, there's things going on. Probably that's the news, and probably get a lot of people to watch. I'm not on here to get a lot of people to watch. I just hope that if there's one flipping by Facebook or YouTube that sees a live thing up and just hits the button, and decides, hey, let's see what he's talking about. I'm curious. That's all I'm trying to do. Just create some curiosity to where you'll be curious about what God can do for you. And then I'll share my stories, any questions I can help answer. I can tell you what he's done for me and how my life has kind of been. And I just enjoy doing that. So we'll get right into it here. We'll let some people get on the page. Appreciate y'all for coming by. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up if you're on Facebook. I really would appreciate it. Kind of helps promote, what I'm doing. And not asking for nothing, but just, 15, 20 minutes of your time. Now, here's the questions. These are things that I've run across again for probably like the last week or so. And some of them today or, some yesterday. And again, these are things that, I've thought about. I'm not saying I'm up here telling anybody nothing. Just helps me study by talking about it and sharing with you guys and gals. How long? Again, 15, 20 minutes. The big thing of how can a loving God let people go to hell? That's something we'll kick around here. Resentment to a group or a culture of organized religions that makes people not feel welcome. It feels like some people think that it's hard for some people to subscribe to an idea of where people are saying that, Christ is the only way. And maybe it's easy for you, Matt, to say that you believe it and you studied it for a long time and invested a lot of your life in it. But there's a lot of people that haven't. So, who's to say you're right? There's a lot of religions and there's a lot of different ideas and thinkings in the world. And the more media we have, the more knowledge that you may have about a topic. That don't mean that it's right, though. Okay. Now, other beliefs, what we just said, not making it into heaven. Not everybody is going to be able to be a part of this. Members only. The thumbnail that I shared to open up the page there. The supernatural part of the resurrection seems to be conversation. That seems to always be the difference. That always seems to be a deal breaker. People will, hang along there and listen for a long time. And is Christianity contradictive? You're saying that they're loving and caring, but, then you're telling me that everybody's not welcome. Well, so that's the things that we're going to talk about and share. And your stories, I'm listening. Right there's the comment section. And I'm not here to call anybody out, or maybe something you may say may bring somebody to some of their own thinking. This channel it's just life lessons. And that's this, how things have affected me and how I try to work through things. Maybe I could help somebody else. That's my goal in life, because I feel like we're here to make deacons of men and baptize people in his name. And if there's something I could just mumble across to again make people just curious. I'm not in the business of saving people. I'm not him with a capital H. I'm not. I'm just Matt. So again, we'll start at the front here. And how can a loving God just let people go to hell? Well, the answer to that would be he don't. God don't let people go to hell. People choose their life to be not part of, to not be part of a life with Christ. So, how you plan on doing that, that's completely up to you. And, God can give us rules and laws to go by. And there's things that we have to follow, because anything, worth having laws and rules, you have to have some kind of guidelines, right? I mean, we can't just go into a baseball game and not have any rules, just to say, well, you can just stand up here and swing the ball all day, and some people get to swing 40 times and some get one. There has to be some kind of rules to it. So we have, where'd my pen go? We have choice. I'm just kind of writing down my own notes here. We have choice, a choice to be with Christ in paradise, or choose not to. Now, unfortunately, I'll try not to use this word too many times here in the next 20, 30 minutes. The creation that we live in, unfortunately, is not the one that God set out and intended for everyone. It was intended to be a perfect thing, and, the man and woman to live perfectly together and in harmony, and have, exactly what they needed, and to be close to God. The idea of God and this thing, we always use the word he, and it's not a he or a she. We're talking about, this spirit of forever after, from beginning of time to the end of time. It always was and is and will be. Can't have a name really put on it, but it's just an easy way for us lazy people to put a name on it, to try to talk about it or give it a way to put it into sentence. So fortunately and unfortunately, the world fell because of sin. So again, the birds are out there. God is alive, and God is real, and that's the sign there. I mean, to me, of God is real and he is alive, and the creation, from everything that sings and everything that flies and walks, it's all from God. And to say that God is going to send you to hell, if he's so loving, he shouldn't do that. Well, I'm saying that he loves you enough that he created himself and to manifest to be in form of man, in Jesus Christ, to come here and give you an opportunity to not die a spiritual death. Again, the whole idea of this, of the garden, and how I read it and see it, God wanted to be close with us, but we humans, we chose to do things our own way, and we see how that worked out. It didn't work out. So, nothing is really allowed to. You're allowed your choice. That's what you're allowed. But a loving God loved you enough to come to earth here, out of all the places and anywhere that he could be, because this is his creation. And he created it beautiful, and he made it in 6 days, and he rested on the seventh day. But he wants to be close with you, and he wants to have a relationship. And that's what we need to also remember. I'm going to write this down too. Relationships are personal. They are personal. And if the creator, created you, then why would he just want to destroy you? Why would that just don't make no sense. If it's kind of like, maybe we use farming around here. Okay. Since there's a lot of farming community around here, farming soybeans, and you put all this time into a field and you spend hours and hours and sweat and equity, money from seed and chemicals and gosh, the equipment you buy and your time. And then you just go out there and just set it on fire and you're just going to burn it all away. Well, that'd be insane. And I don't think a creator that has created such a beautiful place here that we get to stumble around on until we go back home. Why would a creator just destroy something that it put time in creating? To spend enough time to pull us up from the dirt and pretty much breathe us into existence, and then create us the perfect partner, using a rib of a man to then create a woman. Well, you're going to hell. I'm just kind of tired of messing with you. Yeah, it was kind of fun, I guess, playing in the sandbox. And yeah, I had nothing better to do. I'm all knowing and omnipotent and see all, did all, already know what's going to happen. And I just thought I'd make this, just make this planet. I'm kind of done with it now. That don't make no sense. So it's about that personal relationship. And that's why Christ came. That's why he was here. So God don't you're going just to choose to be away from God. When he came to earth in the flesh to choose to give you that choice of to being close with him again, because we got lost along the way. Along the way, too many laws and too many rules, and man, as we're doing now, people do it all the time. People get confused and put things before God. Work, family, money. And again, it's not, money's not the root of all evil. People quote that wrong. It's the love of money. Love. That's the main word there. Love. And they write that down, love. So how can a loving God let people just go to hell? That's not what the Creator wants. Accepting his son, Jesus, saved your Savior, believing he died and rose again on the third day, that gives you an opportunity to be close with him in the afterlife. But while you're here studying his word every day, not sometimes when it feels comfortable, not sometimes when the bills are late, not sometimes when everything's paid and you got that job you've been waiting for. Every day. That's the relationship. I just wrote this down. Relationships are personal. So what are you doing to make your personal relationship and your love, the key word here, to keep you close to Christ? Because he loves you enough that he did come. He didn't have to. Why? You could just let everything go as it is, and nobody can keep the laws and rules of the however many laws that the Jews had made up. And the 10 Commandments, I'll pull them up right here. We can look at them. We can't keep them perfectly because of sin and just how we are naturally. But Christ could keep them perfectly. So he come to keep them all and fulfill it. Was let it be done. Okay? It is finished. I mean, he loved the guy on the cross next to him. One guy says, hey, man, you're that man, you him. Pull us down off this cross. You the one, right? I mean, that's what they're saying. That's not how it works. But the other guy next to him said, hey, I'm just a old thief, man, and just remember me when you get there. He knew the guy's heart, and God knows your heart. And that's not going to send you to hell. He knows your heart. Have you admitted that you're a sinner? Do you believe that he died on the cross and rose on the third day? Well, then he's not sending you to hell. And you stumble along the way and try not to be a thorn in somebody else's eye when you have a log in your own, be careful with all that. Stay in your lane and fix your salvation and help others mature in their spirituality through your own personal stories, and just do what I'm doing. And if they don't want to hear it, man, then you just have to walk on. Christ tells, just pick up your feet, dust them off, and go to the next house. Because everybody's not going to accept it. Everybody don't understand the love because they have this in their head. And these conversations I come across, well, God loves everybody. Well, he sends them to hell. He don't send nobody nowhere. You choose not to be close to him. That's your choice. Because of that choice, there's no real love. We're going to circle that word again and again, love. That's what it's about. Now, the next part here, we'll move to the next one. This is what I'd run across this a lot. This one is for years, doing youth studies and stuff like. I run across this one a lot. And I studied other books to try to understand, where's other beliefs at, Jewish beliefs, Muslim beliefs, where does all this kind of lay in at? Resentment. Christians supposed to be, they're resenting other groups or cultures or organized religious groups, from Muslims to Buddhists, Hindus, all those kind of things that makes people not feel welcome. Churches not rolling out a red carpet. Okay. I can dig it, man. I understand that. That is a flaw, and it is a shame, and it's unfortunate that we do have flesh and the egos get in the way, that some people feel like they're there to be seen. Some people are just there to be heard. And then other people just want to show up and just do their part because they know what it's done for them in their life. And they'll do whatever task they're given. If it's cooking, hey, done it for years. If it's helping with the youth, you see there's a need there. I didn't even really volunteer for it. I just kind of, just rolled out a table out there one day and just said, hey, we're here. So, we can play ball and stuff, have fun, and we'll feed them and stuff. But they need to hear something good during the day, at least once. Because schools' hands are tied in a lot of places, not particularly here. Because our county, we're very lucky that there's a great youth group around here, and youth and the FCA groups, and man, I've seen some great stuff. They're just led by the kids. We're lucky. But if you just live in this little bubble around here, that is not how it is. So, not rolling out the red carpet, and not making everybody feel welcome. And, well, maybe if you don't feel that way, if you don't feel welcome, sometimes maybe it's not the people of the church, maybe it's you. I'm talking to me because I felt that way, when I was coming into church at a younger age, because you have so many questions and you just want to know. And if your questions are not answered, you feel like, well, they don't care. They're just overlooking me. That's not true. You don't have to feel like the red carpet needs to be rolled out for you, because the building means nothing. The church is the people, and the Spirit of God that lives in the church. That's the church. Christ living amongst the people. And wherever there's 2 or 3 gathered in my name, I am there with you. Okay. So maybe don't be so caught up in your own ideas and what you feel like you need to get out of something. And this is me talking. I've realized this later, because maybe it ain't about me. Maybe it's about what I can give. And for me, I always felt like giving my time or my wisdom or how I understand the Bible, and I've studied it from a young age for a long time. It ain't maybe about what I can get, but what I can give. So maybe just try this. Maybe go in and find your church that you know some people at, that you feel comfortable around, that you know. And not everybody, is just a blabbermouth like me. That I can't help it. I know everybody. It kind of comes a little bit from my grandmother owning restaurants, in town back in the day, and everybody kind of knew who I was. And I don't know. I always want to know how people are doing. So I think me putting myself out there, some people may see me come down the store and say, good God, man, there comes Matt. Oh, God, he's going to talk to me. I don't want to talk to him. I'm sorry if I make you feel that way. But I just want to know how you're doing, and so figure that out to where don't feel resentment, And in some place, you're just maybe, some churches, you're just not, everybody's not cut out to be somewhere. Maybe you don't fit in at a particular church, and that don't mean that they don't like you. And some of this comes from just how it is now. Generationally, I just didn't. Most people my age or so, my son said this. Well, how do y'all just act like you just don't care? That's not. Well, it's not we don't care. It's just we don't care. I mean. To church not rolling out the red carpet, then you need to know, why are you there? Again, are you there to be seen or heard? Are you there to really help, and give and be a caring, loving spirit and try to offer something that maybe somebody else can't, and try to, fit in and be part of the puzzle, because the grand whole puzzle of the whole big puzzle is making deacons and men and baptizing people in his name. So, where do you fit in that? Okay. And that word, you can go back to love. Are you really loving people, or are you just there because you're just desperately broken and you need love? And we all do. But I feel like if you get in there and find a place where you fit in and you can give, I think that working and people feeling a part of something, I think that's love. And maybe before you can get it, maybe you need to give it, give something that you really love, something you really care about, something if you're good on music, if you play the guitar, then pick it up, sing a song, play to yourself for a while, until you grow the courage and pray about it. And giving something and being part of something and working with the group. Everybody wants to be wanted. And maybe that's what it is. You don't feel like you're wanted. So they're not rolling out the red carpet for me, So resist it to groups or cultures or organized religions that makes people not feel welcome. It is. That is a real thing. And I'm sorry that everybody don't have a good experience with Christians. And what you need to remember that, we're all still just a big pile of elements that are, put together here on this earth. And not all are the same. Some have different messages, and some are better at giving messages than others, So that's kind of that. Now, this is a one too that I come across again today. Members only. Not everyone. Just 2 words. Not everyone. Well, Matt, he said he loved the world and he sent his only son. Well, that's what I'm saying. John 3:16. Read on through there. Go 16, 17, 18. The reason that these other beliefs or that is, it's not it is, there are other things that people believe. And why, are things out there that, God's all knowing, and, why would he even allow, in other religions, why wouldn't you just nip it and stop, Muhammad from writing a book, and them saying about, where they are, what they're doing, or, Muhammad. Now this is their story, that he left the earth on a unicorn with, or a horse with wings, and, he goes up to Allah. Well, how do you know he didn't just go to heaven, Matt? Because he's not Jesus. And what we do know is, all we have is, if we're just going to go by facts, and that's what you need, that's what makes you feel good and, we all want to hear that. And I have to remember that everybody's not spiritually, mature all at the same level, because we all didn't come into this at the same time. Nor did none of us come into this the same way, or why what even brought you to this. So we know that all other historical records and data, thousands and thousands of different languages, Greek and Sumerian, and all these different scrolls written in thousands of different languages, that these are firsthand accounts, from people that lived with Christ and was with him daily. And they go to dates of 90 years after he was gone. Okay. And the facts that we have of Christ in all these other books, all these other religions I mentioned a while ago, Muslims to Hindu and Buddhist and all that, Gandhi and all those people, they're all good people. They have, good, all those other religions have, good things, and, about, being good to people and caring about people, and, not letting your bad define you and who you are. And all those religions have kind of those bases, but none of them have a risen Savior. Well, Matt, he's telling me that's what goes to the next part. There's enough truths, factual evidence of people, hundreds and hundreds of people seeing Christ after he had been crucified, to stack like three buildings in New York, Empire State Building. You could take three of them and stack them end on end. You could stack all the notes, papers that we have, and go up three high of the Empire State Building. But people have a problem with it, because they're not, they just go, well, I don't know. But we could take history from Constantinople or the Romans and stuff that happened before Christ, was even around in these, scrolls, these books and stuff that was written. Or, I just did a big special on the Revolutionary War, 1773 and 4, whatever, stories about King George III, how do you know that's true? And before you were born, how do you know, even more relevant, how do you know Elvis was really alive? We've seen pictures and seen videos. Okay. This is not Bigfoot. It's not. We've got proof, factual evidence, and all these other religion books, all of them. And what's amazing, none of them ever have anything bad to say about Yeshua. His name his mother gave him, Jesus Christ. No, there's none. Okay. So if every other book acknowledges that he was here, then, if they all believed it and we got all this evidence, and you can believe a stack of notes that wouldn't be reached to the 10th floor of the Empire State Building, but I can give you stacks of notes that go 3 times higher than the Empire State Building, but you have trouble. Well, I don't know. Because this next part, the supernatural part of the resurrection, that's the difference in all other beliefs. Because these two things, 2 words, and this will kind of sum it up, and we'll end with that. Faith and submission. Faith and submission. Well, I don't know anybody that ever met Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson. I don't even think I probably know anybody that's even ever met Richard Nixon. And that ain't even that long ago. What about Jimmy Carter? He was president when I was born. I don't know if I know anybody that's even met him. Maybe. So, because we have notes and records, because we can write and read. So that's why. But the supernatural part, that's where these next 2 things come in. That's the last topic here. Again, thank you for coming by and letting me talk to myself and listen along. And I hope it's helped somewhere. Maybe something that you was thinking about or praying about that more you was like, man, I was just praying about that. And that's exactly what I was, thinking about. Getting your Bible and study some more. I hope this makes somebody curious. Just one person. It's fine. I'm not trying to get 1,000 views. I'm not trying to make no bunch of money, or get put on somewhere. Now we do a sports show on Sunday, me and Dean, and I work really hard at that. And, one day I'd like to do that on a bigger scale, but this is just, it helps me study, and I hope it can help you too by me sharing. So I don't want to hold you up no more rest of your evening. That's the difference. Now, I think most, religions, to end there, they do require you to be submissive. But man, there's that word there, faith. So Matt, you're telling me this guy named Jesus, born to a virgin. Well, Muhammad believed, he wrote that. A lot of people, wrote that. Jesus was born to a virgin. Okay. So it's not like it's the only book or the only group of people that believe that. So there's a lot of other people, all the other places, again, have record and data of this man walking the earth. Historically, there's hardly a few arguments, even from atheists, people that don't believe anything, which is silly because you believe something. So you're telling me that I need to believe that he just got up. Well, if I'm wrong and the aliens come and pick us up tomorrow and it was all a fairy tale, I lived a good life. I treated people right, and I followed the teachings of the greatest man that ever walked earth. Flesh of God. The Father and Son and the Holy Spirit all in one and all separate. And yes, to be risen from the dead, he had to be to defeat death, because without it, none of that, nothing else matters, because none of the rules or none of your laws, none of that's Christ dying would kneel and void. What would he need to come and die for? Well, all I got to do is just keep these rules here, and I'm going to make it. No, it's not how it works. Admitting you're a sinner and believing that he died on the cross and rose from the dead. That's how it's done. And you do have to have faith. I ain't seen George Washington either. I believe he's real. I don't think there's really any pictures of it. There's some paintings, that we kind of have a good idea of what he looked like. And I tell you this, surely it is. We are here, Big Matt Podcast. I tell you the truth. That's why I started this. There's too much other things out there that's not going to tell you the whole truth. And sometimes people don't like all the truth because they don't want to face their wrongs. And I've had to face my wrongs, and I face them every day. And we all just have to see those and move on from them and realize you have faith every day in everything that you do, really. You don't even know it. You have faith when you get in your car to back out in the road, you're not going to get killed. You have faith in the idea of preparation of going hunting. You put in the time to scout an area. You have faith that you've done enough work in the woods to trail a deer somewhere or to be in the right pond when the ducks fly by. There's faith in everything you do. Am I doing the right thing? And the little voice in your head that you hear, you have a conscience. And that conscience is your spiritual being, and it's a part of you. And because God knew you before you were ever born. So, how's that work? Because we are made in his image, and he put us here, and he wants to be close to us, and we messed it all up. Christ come back to give us the opportunity to be close to him again. And he even left us a book that most of you can read, and I know some of it's hard to read. Read the New Testament. Start there just read through the disciples there, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And most of these other letters after, from Corinthians, 1st and 2nd, or Thessalonians to Acts, Romans is great, 1st, 2nd Peter. These are people that hung around him and understood his word and knew what he was here doing. And those people were Jewish people. They're Jews, the same group of people that put him on the cross and wanted to kill him because he worked on the Sabbath. And he's just blaspheming, God. I don't see how thousands and now upon millions and millions, the best-selling book in the world, the greatest known name in the world, Jesus. How could it just been he was a magician and he just did magic and he fooled all these people? That's crazy. Then I got Bigfoot prints out here in the backyard. You need to come pour cast in. I'll sell them to you for $1 a piece. There's no way you could pull off a trick like that. There's people done that back then. That kind of stuff did happen. And they all got found out and figured out. People ain't stupid. Because people wrote it down and they know what they saw. And if we can have enough idea to believe in stories from Genghis Khan to the Jing dynasties and all those writings and stuff, man, how could you not believe stacks upon scrolls and scripts and papers, stacked 3 times higher than the statue, the Empire State Building? How? And it does require faith. But man, I'd have an easier time believing that and believing the Bible and believing Christ was real. I have an easier time believing that than we're not. Or easier time than that, believing that than we oozed out of water from tadpoles. DNAs don't even match up. You can't just come from pond scum, from some kind of bacteria living organism, to a living, breathing human walking around on a planet. That's just crazy. Now, if you don't do the science and stick with science, then the science says no. Because anything that's 10 to the 100th power or more, science says we're not wasting time on it. It's just impossible. And for human nervous system, only just the nervous system, from our brain, how it runs through our spine into our body, is 10 to the millionth power of it being, well, we just, came up from apes and then come a long way. And faith, you do it in everything you do. You have faith that you wake up in the morning and be able to go to your job. You have faith that your kids are going to make the right decisions when they go outside the house, that you've taught them the right things. And there's faith. No, this is just not, it don't have to be a message for anybody. This is a message for me. Anybody that's stumbling across the page, hit the thumbs up there. Leave me a comment. Just say, hey, I can go along with that. Or say, Matt, you're crazy. That's okay. I love you anyway. God loves you. And being submissive. Because being submissive is the last part of it. Faith is something you're going to have to carry all throughout your life and nearly everything that you do. Because it's something that you don't know the outcome. And I'm super OCD and I want to know the outcome of everything. And it really bothered me a lot being younger when I couldn't figure out some of these questions, some of these things I needed to understand. There's a lot of that stuff. A lot of that. And there's a lot of stuff that I still don't understand. But being submissive and to know that you serve a loving God and loving Creator that came to the earth to bring you closer to Him again, and to die, he had to die. He had to have that death to go defeat it, and he beat it and come back and went up and he even come back to his people and said, "Love God and love each other. Just as I've loved you, love my son here." He went and got baptized. He showed us what to do. He left us a prayer, the Lord's Prayer. It's all out there. But for men especially, and I'm talking to myself here, to be submissive and just be able to pray and say, "Lord, I'm a fool. I don't know what I'm doing." Because we're men, we're supposed to be tough. We're kids of the 80s. We ride bicycles up and down the road and take chains and used to whoop each other with them or wrestle and play tackle football, after school, and drink out of water hoses or whatever, that generation, light come on, you had to be at home, that kind of stuff. So to be able to submit yourself to that and say, "Lord, I'm just not worthy." But the thing is, I'll end with this. I seen this on The Blind. It's a great movie about Duck Dynasty, Phil Robertson. Wow. And me coming from where I come from a divorced family, man, that thing really hit. It's a great movie. You ought to see it. And what I take away a lot from that with Phil, and he was ashamed by it. You can tell even when they interview him later, he's still kind of reluctant. You can tell he's just not fired up about saying how much of a bum he was. He was just a mean drunk. But the preacher tells him something at the end there. And Phil's like, "Man, I understand what you're saying. I'm not, I'm just an old fisherman, up here shooting ducks and fishing up down this river and trying to make some money just to buy beer. And I'm unworthy. I'm unclean. I'm terrible." And the preacher said, "Well, that's fine, because God's going to meet you. He wants to meet you in the middle. That mountain that you're trying to climb to reach to heaven, you're not going to work your way into it. Works is never going to get you there. You can't work your way into it. But we are fallen. We're dirty, just old, regular human people that falter and have problems we deal with every day. And you're going to continue to. And just because you get... I got to plug my computer up. Just because you get saved, that don't mean that's the end of it, just because you're saved. And that was the whole idea of this, was him being submissive, to be able to give yourself up. And you think, "Man, I ain't good enough to go to church. I ain't even golly, I had people, what they think? What would they think? See me coming up in there. That's just where you need to be. If you're not ready for that, then study at home every day and pray every day, 100 times a day or once a day. It don't matter. It's personal. It's a personal relationship that we all have, and it's all different. I can't tell you how you're supposed to love. I can't tell you how you're supposed to act. We all have different fingerprints for a reason. Okay? So we'll go back through this here. We have a choice. God don't send people to hell. People just choose not to be close to him, not to be close to his son, Jesus, that came. And relationships are personal. Just talked about it. And love is the main key. That's what gives you that personal effect, because you have to build a personal relationship with Christ, because he did that for you. He don't even know you. But we have to have something more after. Okay? And church didn't roll out the red carpet. Well, maybe everybody ain't supposed to roll out the red carpet for you. Just because my grandma kept a cake on the table for me and I always had sweet tea in the refrigerator and cooked, that don't mean you get that everywhere. That ain't what that means. Just because everybody may line up and just think you're the glorious thing in the world in your little bubble, that don't mean everybody may feel that way. Now, while you're at a church, you should feel welcomed. And you shouldn't be felt, pushed out. And if you do, try another church. But after a while, it may be you. You may have a problem. And what I said about that, how to deal with it, how I try to choose to deal with things, then give some of your time. And that makes you feel a part of something when you're working with as a team. Let your kids fold towels when they're little. It's not punishment. Don't give. But I got to tell you what, Johnny, if you make a C on that test, you mow grass for the rest of the season. No, how about you punish them for the bad grade in, some kind of punishment? But working's got to stop being punishment. God wants us to work and do things for him. Work shouldn't be punishment. You should let your kids fold the towel because they want to be part of the family. That's why I did mine. It wasn't punishing him. Yeah, teaching him to fold towels when he's 5. Could he fold a towel good? Nope. But he felt like he was part of something, We're all pitching in. Everybody's doing their thing. Build a team. And it's not for everyone. And maybe it may be you. That's what I said. Maybe you need to get yourself right, because you're not going to church for everybody else. Well, man, I'd go to church. Tell you what, I don't go. That old fella sitting up there on the front, he used to sell drugs. I know it. I've seen it. He was selling drugs. Yeah. I did too. Done drugs. We all fall, and we've all made huge mistakes. I ain't going for him or her. I know that girl up there, she's been a lot of men. I'm not going for her. I'm going to hear what the preacher needs to say, because he is a mouthpiece for God to bring a message down. If he's doing the right thing and doing what he's supposed to be doing, and the preachers I've been to around here, I love them all. They all bring good messages. Brother Mark at Cedar Bluff, stayed there for years. Love Mark as a preacher and just as a guy just to talk to. Great guy. So find somewhere to be, I go to a men's class over here at Piney. Casey Young and Mr. Easton from Sandrock and Talbert. I know Keith. Me and him's been buddies since we was little. And Mr. Rosser runs the class, and we just kind of bring up some verses and we just kind of talk and share. Go be a part of something. Okay. But you're not going for other people. I don't want to hear that anymore. I can't, man. I've never been a real big inviter to church kind of person. I offer, hey, if you're looking for somewhere to go, you're welcome to come hang out with us. And a lot of times people would. I've had people come a time or two, and they may not come back. Well, that maybe it's ain't the place for them. So that one church may not be the place for you. If it ain't, then try another one. But after a while, you're kind of like that old kid, the transfer portal, that's done been to about 5 different schools. Maybe it's you. They've been divorced 5 times. You think, well, every time I marry a woman, they messing around. Well, maybe you got something going on with yourself. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm telling you the truth. And last again, faith and submission. We've been over that. You live on faith every day. You don't even know it. I've given you facts to tell you that there's scrolls and books stacked up higher than 3 Empire State Buildings, but I could give you books stacked up 10 floors about some guy we read about in history. But that's okay. You can believe that because you can't believe that. That's that supernatural part. Well, he rose from the dead, man. Hey, well, if it's all a trick and a lie, he's the best magician, and they should do a magic book because he fooled all these people. Now, these are not just fly-by-night people. These are regular people just like me and you that he called out to be his disciples, 12 of them. And then in the Old Testament, God uses all these guys from Abraham and Isaac, Moses, Noah. These guys are regular, normal people. Some of them even have drinking problems, it's said to be. You have to understand that. And know there has to be a little bit of faith to believe that it happened. You have to be able to believe that. And if you can't right now today, I'll end with that. If you can't right now today, that's okay. I've been to some older preachers and back in the day, and they pound that pulpit and, by God, you going to hell today. You walk out of here and you meet that. That's if you're not saved and you go get in your car a little bit and go get something to eat and you die and you're not saved, you're not gonna make it, bro. Because you decided not to be close to Christ and have a relationship with him, and you're not going to be with him in paradise forever. You're not going to have a eternity of soulfulness that he give us in our spirit to have. Okay. So, those old guys, like I said, just beat on the pulpit and you're going to hell, boy, you better find a day Jesus and know him. I just don't choose to do it that way. Is there anything wrong with that? Nope. Sure ain't nothing wrong with that. God calls everybody their own ways to do their own things. And we're all different. And ain't it great? Ain't it great that we're all so different? But he come to save us all. And we're all so different. Color, height, tall, fat, skinny, bald. It's wonderful that he created every one of us in his image. And if you don't know today, if you ain't sure, pray. I'll pray for you. Let me know. Message me. I don't care. Whatever I can do to help. And again, this is not me looking for anything. I just hope one person's watching and is thinking, I need to hear that today. And I hope I did somebody some good. And so just being faithful and being submissive, those are the hardest things, man, especially for guys. So have a little bit of faith that you are smart. Have a little bit of faith that God does love you and that you're made in his image. He don't want you to go to hell. Hey, I'm going to hell. I'm tired of you telling me if I don't do this, I'm going. How could that God of yours? He's so wonderful. Send me to hell. He's not sending you nowhere you choose. You chose to. If you take out across the field out there, there's mines all in it. You're probably going to step on a mine and blow up. Well, you chose to walk across that field. And I'm telling you, hey, right down the middle of that field, there's mines out there. Now you go to the edges, there's not. I'm going to walk down the middle. Well, you're choosing to. You chose to get blown to smithereens because you want to do it your way. And that's that part, again, submission. Because our way ain't the right way. And the whole thing about time and what we're doing and, everything's on time. There's no time. I'm not going to get in no science class about space-time continuum, those type things. There's not a time. We're talking about the creator of the universe. But the time to know Christ is now. It's today. If you stumble across here again, hit the thumbs up, give me some love, or like it on YouTube. Share the video. Share it over on your page or something. If you feel like this will make a difference, maybe somebody you're watching this, you're thinking, well, I wish old so-and-so would have heard him tell so did. He could have, or she could have, got something out of it. Share it over there. That's fine. I ain't shy. Okay. All right. I'm going to get off here and everybody enjoy your Wednesday night. And I'll see you in a few days, or I don't know, maybe come back on next week. And if you like sports, football, basketball, got plenty of stuff, college football stuff we're going to do. Sunday night, 6 o'clock, me and Diamond Dean will break that down over on Locker Room Sports. You can find us over on our page. So have faith in something. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. God loves you, and I do too. So y'all have a great night.